Hey, welcome back to bonus video 1. I want to show you some miscellaneous preferences in Lightroom that will make or break. If I have a selection and I go to the develop settings, and I'm going to do that of course with the letter D, it's just my shortcut, right? And I go to my mask panel, Shift W, and I go to play with certain mask setups. You'll find that as you add a mask or subtract a mask, it might drive you crazy that the mask panel continues to auto close. It's fine if you just want to add one mask, but if you want to keep adding masks, as I've done here, multiple separate object selections in order to build a really pristine, precise mask, it would drive me crazy to have to go back and forth reopening the mask panel. Let me just show you where this is. Down at the bottom of the mask panel by overlay and the color selection for the mask overlay are 3 dots. And there's a checkbox in there, auto hide the masking panel. Now this is the default to automatically hide the masking panel after each choice, after each select, after each edit. It drives me crazy. So you'll certainly want to be told that you can, at least if you choose to do so, uncheck that so that it does not automatically hide the masking panel. That's number 1. Speaking of nuisance of having to open and close the panel each time, here I've built a very complex edit of the baby. Now I'm going to throw that out and we'll start from scratch so that you can see what I've done. I'm going to go to the 3 dots next to the baby and let's just delete that baby mask. Here we go from the beginning, and notice all my steps. I add a new mask. None of this ought to surprise you. I'm going to add a mask of a person. My baby, trust me, is a person. It's waiting to build and detect my people. I'm as patient as can be. I'm going to click on person 3. I can see from the little tiny icon that this is the baby. I grab the baby. I've got the entire person of the baby. That's a good start. Let's create that mask. Now I look at that mask and I can tell, that there's something going on around the side. It's grabbing grandma's top rather than baby's head. So here we go. Here's my nuisance. I'm going to add an object or subtract an object. All right, let's subtract an object here, and I'm going to try to show it which area. It's this area right here. I hope it can figure it out. Oh! I'm impressed. That was so much fun. I'm going to continue to subtract. No, I'm not. Because in Lightroom, whether or not that panel hides and closes automatically, what a nuisance. You have to go back and subtract and choose the object tool yet again. In fact, in between. Now I'm going to add object. I don't have to do this in Adobe Camera Raw. I don't have to either add or subtract the object. To add and subtract objects at will, just click, 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 option click reverses that feature. But I need this hand. Let's see if it does it for me. Now I have to subtract under here. I have to go back and subtract the object, a little bit more, subtract the object. I think you sense the frustration. It got rid of a little extra thumb, add an object. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Missing a foot. Let's add an object. Okay, I'm telling you that this is taking me 5 times longer than it ought with all my motion back and forth. But finally, oh, there's a thumb. Somebody's thumb body is honing in on that baby's leg. So let's subtract, I hope, one last object in that area. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I'm good. All right, all that time to select the perfect baby mask. Let's give the baby mask a name. Let's call it frustrating but awesome. You'll recognize that name. All right, so far so good. That is just a nuisance that drives me a little crazy. I'll show you when I go back here in these bonus videos to Adobe Camera Raw that is a really easy, fast thing to do. Now this I don't chalk up to as nuisance, but just alert. When you're in a mask where you've gotten several little objects, right? I just did the, what is last there? The thumb. Okay, so look here at the thumb as I eyeball that last object selection right here. I'm going to eyeball it on and off. But as I do that, notice that it's the thumb that comes and goes. All right, the thumb comes and goes. In Lightroom, in the develop setting, the shortcut for invert is not I like it is in Photoshop. It's not X to exchange the inside for the outside like it is in Adobe Camera Raw. It's apostrophe. Okay, apostrophe. I'm going to tap the apostrophe key. And that, in fact, is the invert. Not a nuisance so much as just really apostrophe. And option or alt apostrophe is invert the entire selection, the entire mask that we named frustrating but awesome. So in this case, the entire baby selection with option apostrophe. If I just tap apostrophe, it does the subcomponent only. Now that doesn't drive me crazy because eventually I learn that keyboard shortcut and I'm over it. But it's so unlike the other apps. It's so unlike Photoshop and so unlike Adobe Camera Raw to have a very odd and awkward punctuation mark be the shortcut. So I just want to call your attention to that, to the alert. All right. I would like to take this. You're going to want to pay attention, Lightroom users, for certain. I want this Lightroom file with the changes that I've made, frustrating but awesome. I want to go edit it in other apps. For example, right now, a Lightroom user, knowing what they know about the frustrating feature of selecting object upon object, might choose to do that in Adobe Camera Raw rather than here in Lightroom. So I'm going to do a keyboard shortcut on my Mac. I'm going to do Command R. Now Command R in Bridge said I want to edit in Camera Raw. It was the equivalent of the develop module. Command R, edit in Camera Raw. My PC users are saying, hold on, not so fast, Rick. That was Control R. Control R on the PC. You're right, that's true. But it's that same shortcut here in the develop module or in the library grid for Lightroom. Either place, Command or Control R, that reveals where the real file is on my computer. Command or Control R. Where is it really? Please reveal it to me as Rick taught me. Command R. There it is. Spectacular. And so, Mac users, PC users, we could take it now and continue to edit it somewhere else. Now, I'm a Mac user and I've got a shortcut here for Bridge. You don't know how to do that. You might want to ask, how do I get my Bridge app right there at the top of any window I open? And I'm taking that and just touching it to Bridge. And now I'm editing that Lightroom file from Bridge. And I'll go into Camera Raw and continue my work. Command R. Let me show you the long cut. We just talked about it. File menu. Oh, here Command R is edit in Camera Raw. So I'll do it. The shortcut was not Shift W for the mask panel, was it? It was M. I'm in my mask panel. Where is frustrating but awesome? Where is it? It's not here. It's not here. It's frustrating and not awesome. Let's cancel. So, Lightroom users, hear me well. Lightroom, because of the catalog, does not save your edits in the real file. So that even if you found it, you revealed it on your computer, it still can't take those new edits into other apps. That's very frustrating. Unless you know a trick or two. Here's the first trick. Now, it defeats the purpose of the catalog. I want you to hear that up front. But in fact, it does save my buns. It saves the day. It saves the bacon. Here we go. It's save. What's the keyboard shortcut for save in any other program that you know? Command S on the Mac, Control S on the PC. If you are editing in Lightroom and you save, Command S, it says, did you want me to save the metadata into the file? What is that in English? Did you want me to save the changes to the real McCoy, to the real file? Yes. Now you might want to say, don't show me that again. But I'm a teacher and a consultant, so I don't tell it to stop showing me. I want it to show me every time so I can teach. But in fact, it's doing it. It's saving it. Now when I reveal, Command R, and now when I drag it to Bridge, and now when I Command R in Bridge and edit the real McCoy and go to the mask panel, look, there's frustrating but awesome. Lightroom users have to commit to saving the changes into the file for real, or Bridge can't see it. Photoshop won't see it unless you go another route, which I'll show you in another bonus video. The bottom line is this: changes don't get saved to the real file directly unless you tell it to. How do you tell it to? You Command S. Now, I have that beautiful multi-object selection from Lightroom. And remember, you saw me work, some of it at least, painfully, one after another after another. Now I'm going to throw that in the trash. Can you believe it? I'm going to do it. I'm going to say, get rid of that mask. Delete frustrating but awesome. Can you, after all that work, let's create a new, you're going to see me do exactly the same thing in Camera Raw. You saw me do it. What do I want to do? I want to select the people. You are going to remember this. This is going to look awfully familiar. Remember, it counted persons. Person 3. Create it, please. You saw me do this. Now, I have all the same glitches because it's all the same engine. It's the Camera Raw engine. But I'm going to subtract an object. You saw me do this in this neighborhood. And you saw me say, oh, there's a little bit more. But in Lightroom, I couldn't continue. I'm continuing to subtract. I couldn't do that in Lightroom. Oh, wait, I need to add, not subtract. Hold the Alt or Option key, and I told you it would flip the behavior. I'm flipping the behavior. Instead of subtracting, I'm adding. Look how much easier this is. Oh, I missed a foot. Add by holding the Alt or Option key because I began this as a subtract. Oh, did I go the other way? So I'm done. That was so fast. Because as you continue, the object selection tool, either subtracting or adding in Bridge, Camera Raw, assumes you're going to continue. Oh, I see a little spot I missed. It assumes you're going to continue. So it allows it as you're doing it. I can continue. If you've begun with one object, you continue. You continue. Oh, there's a little piece I need to add. Continue. I'm just looking. Oh, subtract the thumb. Notice I'm not going back to my masking panel. It's automatic. That saves me not just my clicks, but all those trips back to the panel, all those trips back to the add or subtract or intersect button, all those trips back down to the object every time. That's frustrating. All right, let's cancel. Let's quit Bridge. Let's quit Camera Raw. We're back into Lightroom. So I showed you one way you can save the baby. This time, literally, is as you make your edits in Lightroom, if you think you want to continue the work for whatever reason in Bridge and Adobe Camera Raw, Command S, Control S, save. You do that on a per file basis. Save, save, save. Now I'm going to go back to my grid, G, library. If I go to edit another, as a Bridge Camera Raw user, I'm in the habit of doing Command R. I thought I was going to edit this in Camera Raw, but instead, even here on the grid, Command R in Lightroom reveals where the real file is. There it really is, said Rick. So instead, I'm just going to tap it and hit the letter D. It's hard to memorize two sets of shortcuts, isn't it, in different apps? There I am. If I want to make changes to the file and save them, I do Command S. Or if I've already made changes to this file, there are already things in this file, but they're not showing up when I go elsewhere. Just open it, Command S, save it. Are you sure? Oh, I'm so sure. Continue. And now that file will let you work on it anywhere else you choose. One file at a time. I'm clicking a file, metadata menu, save metadata to a file, to the file. So here I am in the equivalent of Bridge. I'm in the library, and I don't have to open them one at a time. I'm going to select all, Command or Control A, select all, this entire batch of photos. And I can Command S and save all the metadata into all the files at one time. That sounds remarkable. But, and it comes at this cost. You've just thrown away the usefulness, according to Adobe, of the catalog. The catalog says, I am not saving metadata into every file. The changes are, the metadata represents the changes. The changes are only being saved in the catalog, not into the file. They think that's a good idea. I don't. You may not. So if you ever want to save the changes into all your files at once, you can do it in this way. But it defeats the purpose of the catalog. It defeats the very purpose why Lightroom was created. The difference between Lightroom and Bridge with Adobe Camera Raw is the catalog, first and foremost. Now you and I are discovering that there are other little masking nuisances, nuances that are in my way as well. There are slight differences there, but the ultimate non-destroyed, undestructive, non-destructive, technically gorgeous edits are the same in the end, however you get there. You might say, I love Lightroom's tools. I can't imagine my left hand and right hand and keyboard shortcuts and brain ever getting out of it. I don't care if I ignore the catalog. Then you can do this. Last trick for this bonus video, last preference. Follow me to the LightRoom Classic menu. However you find it, PC users, you may find it under Edit, but you're looking for Not preferences, but catalog settings. And at the top of that screen, you'll notice it says, and I'll zoom in for us here, there are some general catalog settings. There's file handling settings. But here's where we're heading. Metadata settings. Look here. Automatically write changes into XMP. What is that in English? Automatically write all my changes into metadata into each file, please. That's exactly what that means. You'll never have to do Command or Control S. Now, like I say, Adobe goes, well, wait a minute, you're disrupting the very reason for my existence, says Lightroom. So it says, warning, changes made in Lightroom will not automatically be visible in other applications unless you do write this changes to XMP. They're warning me, if you don't check this, you will never get your changes saved unless you Command or Control S one photo at a time in the develop module or all your photos at a time. But this says, set that as my pref, I'm done. You realize what I'm telling you? You've just defeated the entire purpose for the catalog. By doing that, it just makes it very compatible with all other apps. All right, that's it for this bonus video. You ought to have counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like I had 7 different preferences here. Auto hide the masking panel in the develop module. That was in the masking panel. Little pull out by show overlay, 3 dots. I found it a nuisance that every time in Lightroom I go to add or subtract an object, I had to keep going back to the panel. Drive me nuts. I told you not a nuisance so much as just I have to get used to it. The apostrophe was select the inverse of a subcomponent. Option or alt apostrophe would do the entire mask invert, right? Oh, here's something I wanted to say and I had not. It's a crazy thing to me that Adobe, in all their other programs, when you hold the Shift key to a mask, it adds. That's good. Shift key adds. Option or Alt key subtracts from every mask at all times in every Adobe app, except for Lightroom. And they still can't make up their mind, even in Lightroom. Sometimes Shift adds, but most times Option doesn't subtract, it adds. It drives me crazy. I'm going to make a selection. Let's just do a selection here. We see it in greenness. And I want to add a mask. Click. Did you want to add? A brush? What's the shortcut to add a brush? Option K. That goes against the grain of every other app. That Option is an add tool rather than a subtract tool. I don't know what these teams are talking about down there. I think somebody needs to get and have a little employee convo. Get it going. All right, I told you that Command or Control R will reveal where the real file is. You got that already. I told you that Command S will save that metadata change so that when I reveal, I can continue working with all my changes. If I want to do it forever and ever and ever, but it avoids the entire purpose for the catalog, I can automatically write changes into my XMP. Okay, that's it. Hang with me for bonus video 2, and I promise you, I'm going to turn on a very set of professional workflows. I'm going to create a couple of samples that you'll have access to so that you could follow along with me. But I'm going to go at full speed. You're going to be grateful that you're going to have a bonus video that you can pause, catch up, and play. pause, catch up, and play. I want you to see in real time what it looks like to add all these features together from Lightroom, maybe Camera Raw, and Photoshop. They work together as a team of fine masking tools. I'll see you on the next bonus video.